Alright, switch the sides so I can see the wrong. Alright, good morning everyone. It's getting late in the day. I know Packers don't play today, so we've got plenty of time to be here. But let's call the meeting to order. My comedy writer gave me a dad joke to give today. Why was the groom late to the meeting?
Why?
It overswept. Don't
The more you've grown, the better it is.
The better it is, exactly. That's why it's a dad joke. All right, I need a declaration of a quorum. We'll declare a quorum. And the council secretary is ready to take meetings? Yes? Perfect, perfect. Thank you. And then let's start with the convening prayer from Gloria. I will turn over my microphone. I know.
Let us pray. Holy One, we come before you with faith, trusting you to help us discern your will for Peace Church as we move forward into this next year full of changes, challenges, and new life. We gather with the assurance that your loving guiding spirit is present here, moving in, with, and among us. Help us in our coming together to do so with Christ-like love, with patient, listening ears, gentle tongues speaking truth and love, and with our vision focused on how we may do our part in bringing forth your sovereign will for Peace Church and for our community. May this annual meeting be a continued time in which we worship you with reverence, honor, service, and praise, both in the unfolding process as well as the decisions we reach today. In the blessings of your grace we pray. Amen.
And Eric, if you want to just let the record show there are 6 people online. All right, an adoption of the agenda. As it's laid out, does everybody have the agenda of the annual meeting packet? Not, we have copies up here. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion. I'll second it.
The feedback, motion, who seconded, I'm sorry?
Joe.
Joe, perfect. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right. The secretary will read the 2023 annual meeting minutes.
So the 2023 annual meeting was held on Sunday, January 29th, 2023. President Shirley Clark brought the meeting to order at 10:30 a.m. 34 were present in person and 4 via Zoom. Declaration of a quorum was by President Shirley Clark. Council Secretary Charlene Mathieu took minutes. Pastor Gloria started with an opening prayer. Lynn Barber made the motion to adopt the agenda. With an addition of the Peace Statistics Report and Pastor's Report following the approval of the 2022 minutes. The second by Deputy Miller, motion carried. Review the 2022 minutes. The statistics are there for 2022. The Pastor's Report. Election of council members was held. So you can read along, I'll kind of skip some of the detail, I guess, speed things up. So there was the election of the council members. Sandy Knoll, Karen Brzezinski, and Michael Loomis were elected. And for the endowment committee, Emily Johnson was elected. The treasurer's report by Brian Ermeling was next. The financial review was results of the financial review were reviewed. Committee reports, and there was new business, the budget was adopted. There's some questions and comments. You can read those. President's remarks. I don't think I should read all those, should I? Okay. And then Vice President had some remarks, and then motion, everything was adjourned by 11:09 a.m. And Pastor Gloria finished with a benediction. And respectfully submitted by Charlene Matthew last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. All right. Do I have a motion to approve last year's minutes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Okay, Ellen, do I have a second? I second. Okay, Daniel, roll. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving last year's minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. And we have minutes from last year rather. All right, next we'll do the election of the council members. Do we have a report of the nominating committee? No. Yeah, we didn't really have a committee. So the nominees this year for council are, can I have one of those?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't make myself sound like an idiot, which I already have, so thank you. For this year, Gene Bach, Jill Traska, and Lynn Straylow. So at this point, I call for any additional nominations. Are there any additional nominations on the floor? And then one last call for any additional nominations for the church council president, or church council rather, not the president right now. All right, hearing none, again, you'll be given a ballot vote. We have to replace 3 members, so vote for 3 if you want to write one in. Obviously, we would hope you have their permission to do that, but feel free to write anybody in, and you may go ahead and vote. They will be collected. I need a couple volunteers to count both the council nominations and the endowment committee. Do I have any volunteers to assist in counting? Lynn Barber? Anyone else? Shirley Clark, perfect. Okay. All right. While that is being passed out, I will announce the endowment committee candidates. We are replacing 2 candidates. Well, not replacing, they're irreplaceable, but we do need 2 candidates to take their positions. And our candidate is Jo Ellen Immel Davis. And at this time, do I have any additional nominations?
Dan Brzezinski.
I'd like to nominate Margaret Brubaker.
Thank you.
That's better.
All right, I hear a nomination for Margaret Brubaker. And Margaret, you obviously have accepted this. Do I have any other additional nominations for the endowment committee? And one last call, do I have any additional nominations for endowment committee? All right, so you will be passed out a ballot. Remember that you are voting for 2 people. They will be Jo Ellen Immel Davis and Margaret Brubaker. And again, if you wish to vote for anyone else as a write-in candidate, you are free to do that, but please have their permission before.
Margaret's name is going to be written in.
Yeah, Margaret's name will have to be written on your ballot. So, it's a hard one, okay? I keep getting it wrong, so. Yeah. D-R-U, Baker, Margaret B, yeah.
Do I have all of the blue?
No.
Sorry, I thought it were the end. Sorry, Becky.
I suppose I should vote that.
So you can vote for up to 2 people for endowment, so you, yep.
I did not. Anybody else on the council need to get their votes in?
Big decisions.
Did everybody get all the ballots, both ballots?
The purple's over, there's purple.
All right, and once all the ballots are in, the volunteers will count the votes and report back to us at the end. Everybody have their ballots in? Alana has a purple one.
That's the teacher.
Should we all sing while we wait? Mr. Tiffany?
Isn't that true? Just, there's a certain easy way to do things that people would just raise their hands. I mean, kids think we're trying to run the show. We're
All right,
really not. It's just there's an easy way and there's a
If
hard way.
everybody has both their votes in, I'll pass it forward for the annual report. Pastor Lori, for your annual
Later
report.
we'll talk about it.
So I'm just going to highlight a few things that I've written in this report. First off, we've had a lot of joy and also a lot of sadness over this past year. And we've also been a church like churches throughout this nation who are experiencing change. Any proof of that, I've got more articles than I can count to share with you. Most Sundays, we have people watching online, and by Wednesday, we usually have at least 35, and some Sundays much, much higher. And so the online ministry is one that's very important. So they may not all be watching Sunday morning, but then I know some of our shut-ins will do a church at their location, and then they go and watch the service later. We don't have a count for TV, and I know some of them are watching on the Access channel too. So this year, I really want to thank Betty Johnson. While she was still on council, one of my dreams for this church was, when I first came and started the extended table, I really wanted to see a mission outreach team. And Betty promised me that when she got off council, she would do that, and she did. And you all have joined her, and she doesn't want to be the chair, she wants to be the team, but she has really gotten it rolling. One of my big concerns was that the food pantry that was at Schofield got closed down when they moved their location. Dave Barber was gracious enough to take that project on, and Terry Traska, I know at least maybe Denny was a part of building the food pantry. The Raffles, yeah. Okay, Joe and Joe did that. And then there's been a whole team restocking it, and Peace Power Night Children have been providing some things. They've had several projects to support the little food pantry. Also want you to be aware, our community now is starting to drop food off during the week. We've had 3 that I can remember. The last one, one of them dropping off 3 bags, and a couple came, and I don't know these people, but they just wanted to give food to the food pantry. So Peace Church is being known now to have this. Of course, this has been a year of major transition with the staff. We grieved the loss of Tom Jaworski, and thank Margaret for stepping in when he was really ill, and then also carrying through. And then we rejoice at being able to get Ben Knabler.
Thank you very much. I rejoice in being here.
We received the resignation of Dottie Retchen, and Arlene Winter, for a second time, stepped in to volunteer for many weeks until they hired Jessie Foreman, who we have grown to love, and we're supporting her through some trying times. She is on maternity leave, which we knew when we hired her that that was going to happen. And we thank Lynn Strelo and Arlene again for stepping in to temporary do this, but this time we're paying them because this is 12-week maternity leave and they're giving up a lot of their time, so it's only appropriate. I do have one request. Since Sue, we have cut our hours in half, but the workload that people are bringing to the office has not changed. So I ask you please to consider what part you can really do yourselves as a team, as an individual, whatever, so that we are not overwhelming the office. And if they need to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it, I've got X amount of things already on my list, I need you to respect and honor it. They only have 15 hours, Sue is 30, so that's a big, huge difference, okay? So in August, I announced my retirement. I gave you all a gift of a whole year. It's been kind of strange announcing it so early, but I felt the need to do that because I knew the other two pastors were announcing their retirement, and it was only fair to you all to be in the pool of resources. Michael Jones happened to be preaching in September, so the search committee got, or the council, I think it was, got to meet with him that same day to get the ball rolling. I want you to be aware of what Michael Jones, our Northwest Association Conference Minister, says about what the positive aspects are of this church. Number one, we're open and affirming. That's huge for a pastor who's searching. Number two, the mission and outreach, which is starting to really take off. And three, this building. It's new comparative to many others, and it's kept up well. Those were the three things Michael Jones named as being good for this church and your search. It's been a hard year losing some long-term members of our church. And some have moved away that were close to our hearts. And a lot of the traditions have been carried on by a few members who are doing much to keep the work going. So I encourage all to be a part of the service as much as you physically and time-wise are able, but to spread the work around. We don't want to burn anyone out, right? Christian education program has been ongoing. We have a new program in September started that is mission focused and based in scripture. So other than that, just want to say that the bonds here are close. There is a lot of love among one another. I ask you to keep encouraging that, listen to each other during this search process. I know there are different thoughts and opinions, and not everybody's going to get the answers they want, but maybe you'll get part of it and somebody else will get other part of it. And that's just a part of being a church and a community and finding a way to be the one body of Christ. So do not fear, for I am with you. That is a phrase I hope you will remember. God is up to something new. Embrace the changes that are coming. And offer your gifts and resources to the work of Christ in this city as they are revealed in the Holy Spirit. Blessings and peace.
Thank you, Gloria. The Peace Church annual statistics. Who has the Peace Church annual statistics? It's inside on, yes, my apologies. Page 12, thank you. Yeah, if you go to page 12 on the annual statistics, one baptism, no people were confirmed. New class of confirmands began in 2023. That was due to the hold during the pandemic. We did lose 6 members due to deaths, 4 member funerals / memorials. 2 of those memorials were actually in 2024. We had 0 weddings. We accepted 2 new members and 0 new members by right of confirmation. 9 members were removed by death, transfer, or requested removal from our membership. Our total membership is 140 active members, 100 instead of 7 inactive members, and 23 homebound at the time of this raid.
None, the 23 are included in the active members.
Okay, so it's not 163, it's 140, including the 23.
Right.
Perfect, okay. And then in memoriam, James Ryan, Alan Donnell, Deanna Searing, Tom Jaworski, Dennis Holt, Verna Peter, and the upcoming funeral of Rose W. Montmuller Bible. Treasurer's report.
So most of the reports are, excuse me, after the blue page in the report. Excuse me. In 2023, we had an overall deficit of $4,033.66. Comparing it to 2022, in 22 we lost $3,096.86, so we worsened by $936.91. Income was down, that was the most significant thing, $9,390.04. Positive expenses were also down by $8,453.13. So did a good job controlling expenses this past year. Biggest concern obviously is contributions. Contributions year over year were down $14,828.55, which is 9.1% versus the prior year. And total giving was down 7.7%, or $14,086.26. The total giving includes seasonal giving and the mission giving. Are there any questions on the financials? Thank you.
Next we have the scholarship report, so we'll return to Brian. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, let's take care of that first. Do I have a motion to accept the financial report?
I so move.
Shirley has made the motion. Barb has seconded. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. And scholarship report.
In 2023, the report actually in the book is incorrect. It notes only 2 Brubaker scholarships. There was actually 4. I don't recall what the 4 names, but there were 4 given from the Brubaker scholarship, and then there was 1 given from the Zander scholarship in 2023.
Okay, bizarre report. Bizarre report.
Okay, so the Bazaar did really well last year, and I would just like to thank everybody from the congregation because it was like a huge production by everybody. Our total profit was over $6,800, so that was absolutely stupendous. We did have a meeting afterwards, and people had some ideas for next year, so I guess the plan is to continue next year with the Bazaar too. So it was very well received. The weather was nice that day, so maybe that had something to do with it because we had an increase in people coming through, and yeah, it was a great day. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
In a weird kind of way.
Fun in a weird sort of way, which is why it's a bizarre. Script report.
I just want to add something I forgot in the report. transfer $15,000 from our script fund into the general fund, that we had discussed that at a finance meeting per Chris's request, just so you didn't have to try to shuffle money out through the year. The funds in our account are the church's funds, so we don't designate how they are, but when they're needed, we give them where they have to go.
Thank you, Betty.
All right, 2023 financial reports, which are found in the back of your packet.
Obviously, I talked about them in the beginning because I read the thing wrong, so what we need to talk about is the 2023 financial review. Todd Hagedorn and Becky Miller met with Chris and went through the finances. They reviewed the checking accounts, looked at the balances and reconciliations, and those all matched up. They looked at voided checks, no concerns there. They also reviewed credit card activity, and again, everything is in line, so I thank Becky and Todd for doing that review with Chris.
Okay. Committee reports. Do we have a Board of Christian Education report? Or someone that would like to speak of it? Yes? Ah, there she is. Come on up here. I know you hate microphones.
I think you can go ahead and read through the report to see what we've been doing this past year, the 2022-23 year. As far as confirmation, as we noted, it was a 2-year program, and so we didn't confirm anyone in 2023, but we will be doing that this May. We have 4 confirmands who will be confirmed, and they're 4 wonderful youth, and we look forward to having them join the church as adult members. I made notes about this year, and I just would like to say that we are very pleased with the program and the children that are involved, and they are sticking with us. I think they're really enjoying the activities and what they're learning, and because our focus is on mission, we're doing a lot of things that are teaching them that we need to step outside of the walls of this church and be good Christians everywhere, and we're seeing that happen with these children. And I know I had lots of comments about the Christmas program and how well that went. We were extremely pleased with how well that went, and the children really enjoyed themselves. So thank you for supporting us with our meals and your praise. And we're going to keep trying to mold wonderful young people. Thank you.
Worship and Music Committee, Lynn Barker.
As we get other reports, you can read this report, so I'm not going to go through it in detail. I just want to say it's been a rather eventful, more eventful than normal year this year. What with Tom's death, having a new worship ministry music minister, and then learning about Pastor Gloria. We are in the process, and rather than go through the past, I want to say for the future, worship and music is going to be involved with figuring out what we do in the worship service when we have no same pastor week to week. If you would like to be part of that process, this is the time to be part of worship and music. whatever you want to do, please let me know.
Alter committee, Jill Tresca?
I think they could just
They
read
can
the.
just read through it. Thank you. Endowment committee,
Same thing, Michael.
same thing, okay. Report is located, the alternate committee and endowment committee report are located on page 17 of the booklet. Property committee. Eric, do you have anything you want to say?
No, it's all in red.
It's a well-rounded report, as all the other ones are, and if you have any questions, Eric Winter is the one who wrote it. Let's see, today's search committee. Who wants to speak on search committee?
I just want to thank Daniel today, first of all, for keeping the congregation up to date. I think he did a fine job of letting you know where we are. Please don't hesitate to talk. We try to have each member up there for different reasons so that you recognize us by face and name. If you have thoughts and concerns about what the search committee is doing, please talk to us. It's not a real fast process to get this profile done, so just have patience, but let us know your feelings and complete the survey, please.
Okay, all right, teams, clubs, and group reports, technology team. As the report mentioned, as it was clumsily written by myself, we are always looking to improve our technology here at the church. We rely heavily upon YouTube to broadcast to our people at home and those that can attend. And numbers have steadily grown over the last couple of years that we've been doing this. We've gone from 92 subscribers at the beginning of the year to 107, which doesn't sound like a huge increase, but not everybody who watches YouTube actually subscribes to it. So a subscription is a commitment by them to us, just like they were attending on a regular basis on a Sunday. So visits to our Facebook page have increased by 260% over 2022. That's some gracious work of Becky Miller and Clark, my apologies. Michaela Clark have worked hard to increase the traffic on that. So that's much appreciated. Bruce Wozleski, Eric Winter, Dan Stefanik, my wife Paula, Chris and Mike Rainey, and many others assisted in the technology in this team. We always appreciate your input. Anything you think we can improve on, let us know. I do want to bring it to everybody's attention. There are a lot of things that sort of fall into our lap for technology. One of them is our organ. The organ is starting to act up. It's starting to create some issues for the sound. It's making some weird noises. The person who fixed the organ last time and is the only, or was the only person in this area, has since retired. So we're going to look into what we need to do to repair the organ. If it's simple, we'll repair it. If it's more than that, we'll obviously bring it to the council's attention. It's not a young organ. If I remember right, it's, Barb, you probably have a much better idea of when this organ came around than I do, but I think it's from the 1950s at least. Dan, you would have a good idea too.
That organ has been here since when I first joined, or was a member here at church, and that was back in 1957.
So it's definitely not a young organ. It is an electronic organ, but it's old electronics. It's not state of the art or anything like that. So we're going to use our expertise, and we're going to look into repairing it. But honestly, it's probably going to be an expensive fix. Then we'll talk about whether we fix it or replace it, and we'll move forward from there. There's a lot of opportunities for us to sort of create an organ sound without actually buying a church organ. So, but that'll be up to the council to make that decision. But we'll look at repairing it first. Okay? Community Outreach Mission Team, Dave Harper is going to report.
Just briefly, Pastor Gloria already highlighted a number of the important things that the team has been doing. We started out really getting excited about our involvement with cats, and then cats disappeared. But that's a reminder that God creates out of chaos. And if you don't have some chaos, God has nothing to create. So God has moved us in a number of ways, and on the front cover of the annual reports, it beautifully highlights the food pantry. The two Joes are primarily responsible for this. You can't see it on here, but the word food is on the side of the food pantry, thanks to my wife's painting of the word food on the side. So a number of people contributed to making this happen. And as Pastor Gloria emphasized, it really has moved out and moved us out into the community. So food contributions, especially of things that will not freeze, as we might actually see some more winter at some point in the next several months. And money contributions can be given also, because we do have a fund set aside for the food pantry. So if you have any ideas, every one of the meetings that I've been to of this team has started out with, do we have any ideas for new places, new things that can be done to spread our work in the community? And that's what the team is about. The team is very open to having anybody attend. You don't have to have been there before.
All right, well said, David. Have you thought of a career in pastoral preaching? Give us, there's a call there. CARES ministry team. Pastor Gloria.
So the CARE team meets periodically just to catch up on who is currently on our homebound shut-in list and what the needs are, any changes that have occurred. And each person is kind of assigned contacts so that they make sure that they're not forgotten or alone. We have Paula and Michaela and Terry writing cards and for birthdays and anniversaries and get wells and all kinds of things. I've got one new one for you for the get well. Or for you. I'm losing people
Don't
too.
forget Bill. Don't forget Bill. He's online all the time, sending jokes and whatever to people.
Bill solves and suggests yes, I get them too. But I think one important thing that has happened this year is that we have two wonderful Lay Academy students, and Chris is even taking additional courses in the Damascus Project. And if anyone's interested in that, talk to me. But they have agreed to, when I leave, to cover that time period for home communities. And they will have to bless it, but they are willing to go out and serve it. So I'm making sure that component is covered.
Okay, to kind of interrupt the agenda here, I should have done this perhaps after community outreach, but I have a request from Karen to speak in regards to something she finds very near and dear to her heart.
Sorry for the interruption, but I had to take advantage of all of you being here in one space, being forced to listen to me. So I'll be teaching along with Darla Zimmerman this week in Peace Power Night regarding mission work. I'm in Haiti and hers in Africa. But I haven't come to you with concerns from Haiti in a long time, but I do need to tell you that it's exponentially 1,000 times worse than it ever was. As you may recall, Sandy and I both made trips to Haiti. The last one I went on was 2019. We usually went, I didn't go, but the organization will go twice a year. We can't, it's too dangerous. The political situation there is literally on fire. The violence, kidnapping, for so many reasons. None of us, even Brian, can't go. It's just not safe. We even considered just him flying in, staying at the hotel near the airport, and that's not a safe thing to do. What's crushing to me, and I'm in constant contact with several students, is that the inflation is insane. The food prices have doubled. As a result, we as an organization can only feed the kids 3 or 4 times a week. And that's part of the school program. They get very good meals, home-cooked, fresh, very nutritious, very filling meals. But most of those kids, that's the only food they get in the week is school lunch. And so the fact that we've, resources are what they are, we're only allowed to feed them 3 or 4 times, just, it completely breaks my heart. Spent, so is Sandy, many, many hours in the school with those kids. So, in the words of Brian Sergio, I'm doing what's mine to do and asking if you have any extra to help. You can write a check to Haiti Allies. I will take care of it from there, make sure your address gets to the appropriate party so that you can write off the donation. You could probably make it out to Peace Church and just note Haiti Allies in the memo as well. Any little bit helps. I just had to say something because I know the suffering there is beyond imagining. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, dart ball team. Bill, do you have anything to add? No, it's in the report. All right, perfect.
They have a great banquet.
They had a, yeah, that's right. The Peace Readers Book Club is Jill.
It's in the report.
It's in the report. They read some books, they were all great, so thank you. Quilters Group. Anyone want to speak in regards to that? Okay.
I can say that we meet on Thursday.
You meet on Thursdays,
Right, at 9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
Yeah, and this week we're gonna be meeting Tuesday also at 9 o'clock.
Perfect.
We're making quilts now for, Moon Beach.
So this week you're meeting Tuesday and Thursday, and you're making quilts for Moon Beach.
Right.
Awesome, very cool. And I can attest they are very, very nice quilts. So. All right, fellowship team. Anyone wish to speak on that? Or is that in the report? Okay, perfect. All right, and then the funeral luncheon team. Any speakers on that? Dan, I thought you were standing up there for a second. Just give them thanks. Yeah, I do want to say, and this will be reflected later in my presidential remarks. Thank you to everybody that participates in the life of this church. It isn't just about being here on Sundays. Everything we do has an important reflection on who we are as a group of people. So thank you for your leadership in those committees. Thank you for your participation in the committees and teams. And encourage others to join. These are the important part of what we do.
Just one comment that has to be made. I've gone to a few different funerals. We're one of the few churches that teach.
We are one of the few churches that feed. You are absolutely
The
right.
rest of them, they're going someplace else to eat or cater in.
And I just wanted to give a little shout out because the people that are in charge of that can't always find the volunteers. I'm working, so I just wanted to let everybody know on those days, even if you can just come and help with dishes. Because that when these ladies work the whole morning, and gentlemen, there's some gentlemen too, so pardon me for.
So, Sandy, actually want to say that to the microphone so they can hear you.
Yeah. I just know I've helped at times with it, but since I work and other people are working, just even if you know that there's a funeral, you don't need to make anything, but being there to help clean up or run the dishwasher or do those things are greatly appreciated. I think the ladies and gentlemen that work from the start in the morning, it just gets to be a long day, so.
February 17th.
I know, and February 17th, it's a Saturday. It's not gonna be as big of a funeral, but if we know there's some other people coming, then there's been quite a few big funerals, maybe some of those ladies and gentlemen can take some time off, and not have to work as hard.
And at funerals, we need ushers.
We need ushers at funerals.
We have strangers coming into the church. And we need readers. And if You don't have to sign up, just come and greet. There's no one at the door. Greet people that come in.
Yeah, and one of the things we're learning about funerals as we move forward is that there are more of them not electing to use funeral homes or their services. So what that means for us as an organization is we have to do a little bit more pre-planning for the funeral. And that takes time, it takes people. Greeters are an important part. Again, it reflects on who we are. If we're willing to step up and do that for them, it reflects to the community that we care about them. It's not just a service we provide, it's identifying us as a church and an organization. So it is important in the life of what we do. So thank you for that addition. So, okay. Any other reports that we are missing that did not get filed into the annual report? Perfect. New business. I asked for the presentation of the 2024 budget.
So in your packet after the colored sheet, it's the first 3 pages is the budget. I won't go line by line, just give you some highlights. So overall, there's a 4.54% increase over the 2023 budget. Biggest items are building and equipment going up $4,150. Copier expenses going up. The multi-peril insurance has gone up. Obviously, everybody's probably seen their own personal insurance has gone up. So the other one is just operating expenses, and then utilities and emails are going up. So that's the majority of the 4.54%. We do have in the budget a 3% raise for staff. That is not a guarantee, but it does give the flexibility for the council to award raises if they are deemed necessary. But that is also in that 4.54%. You'll notice that in the pastor's salary, we only budgeted for 6 months of the pastor's salary, as obviously she's leaving in June. But there is the other 6 months is actually, if you look in pulpit supply. We put it in there so that is for expenses for getting pulpit supply. Search team is probably going to need some funds, so we did put that kind of in that as a holding account, so it's actually in the budget. We didn't want to just budget 6 months and then everybody's going, wow, that budget looks really good. Well, there's going to be other expenses. So there will be some costs that come out of that. So that's the big highlights. I guess, are there any questions on the 2024 budget?
I have a comment. It's a very steep budget, considering that you guys transferred $15,000. We still have a $4,000 deficit. That leaves us with, had you not moved that money, virtually a $20,000 deficit.
No, actually, the script income is in the financials.
But it's part of getting a total beginning of the year, correct?
No, it is not.
Okay, because that's how we understood it.
No, it was just an internal transfer. The script fund earns money, it's kept in their account, and then when it's transferred, it's not a giving. It's all church funds, it's all, script income is in our financial reports.
It's one budget. Right.
I think I know what you're saying though. Like
Right,
if we
it's one pot.
didn't
I get the
sell,
one pot.
like if our script team didn't sell script, would we be?
Correct, I mean,
$19,000 the whole
script is a
$4,000.
very good contributor to, it's, I guess, one of the givers in our thing, but the 15,000 was just an internal transfer, did not affect the bottom
I
line.
mean, we have to sell our script.
In order, because in '22, we did not take a transfer from
So
the
we were 15,000 short.
We haven't taken a transfer for multiple years.
Right.
It's been accumulating, and basically with us losing funds, we wanted to do liquidity, so instead of Chris having to go to script periodically, we basically just moved it so we had the liquidity. I think overall we haven't touched those funds, but they are available for when payroll comes up.
That's why I'm raising the question, if you really have that money to do that. So now you gotta get 15,000 from somewhere else.
Well, but and Brian, let me know if I can interpret what you're saying. The $15,000, it's not that it wasn't always there. It's not that we never, but it's not that we never touched it in the past. It's just that we took it from the line item it was in and transferred it to a different line item. So we had touched it in the past.
But next year, that's what we want.
Right, but it's not that it wasn't ever there, that we never ever touched it. We had always been touching it, just in smaller amounts over the same period of time. So, correct?
That's what I raised. I think it's a very steep budget.
Right, but again, the 15,000 did not affect the 4,000. We didn't lose 20,000. That income was carried on for multiple years. But again, it didn't affect the income and expense. So it's the example, if you had money in your savings account and you put it into your checking account. It wasn't an income or expense, it was just a transfer. So the $4,033 is what we lost. The $15,000 has no effect on it. We had that $15,000 all along. And we didn't spend it, it's just transferred into another account.
Okay, so I do have, if you go to page 11, there is the strict income. So I'm asking Brian, is this then the $4,008, that's actually the profit that was.
That's a profit for 20.
From script.
So that's a biological income for next year. So we use like 4 years worth of it. This year. Because we took 15,000, that's about, if you make $4,000 a year, that's about 4 years worth.
Probably 4 years of their
Profit.
Correct.
And now that it's not in your savings, in case something happens.
Well, it is in the savings, it's just not in the script account.
The script account's
The
only
15.
$17,000.
But the 15 you took out of it is gone.
The point I was just raising is a very deep budget. And grateful for the script that raises that. But how long are you gonna have that bump to carry with?
Well, that's always a concern, right? If
That was
giving,
my point.
yeah, if giving's down 14,000, eventually, obviously we lost 4,000 this last year. You continue to lose money, obviously, there are things you can cut, and at some point, the church would have to close if we do not, start raising more funds.
That was not, yeah, that was.
No, and your point is valid. Your point is valid. I think we just were talking from different sides of the conversation. Yeah, and exactly right. And to sort of represent both points, the $15,000 was always there. We didn't pull it out of some secret stash. The fact of the matter is, that's $15,000 we had to use, that we hadn't had to use in the past to cover our deficit. That sort of thing can continue over a period of time, but eventually it has to stop. We're hemorrhaging. It's really that simple. So as an organization, that's what we really need to look at. Moving forward, we can afford to operate to where we're operating for a period of time. But over that period of time, it's going to have a detrimental effect as to how well we can operate, or if we can even keep our doors open. Yes?
You got a water fund that's in there that we can't use. Is there any other money sitting anywhere? Any other funds?
CDs.
Sure, yeah, CDs, that sort of thing. I mean, it's all in the budget, and you can look at it. There's money there. It's just, as we move forward and the deficits don't change or get larger, those numbers are going to get smaller. So, it's not a, but I will say this, financially, as pointed out by our ACM, we're doing okay. We're doing better than a lot of other churches, but we're not doing great. If we really want to get to the crux of the matter, we're doing okay, but okay is not good enough. Because eventually, it would cause us to close our doors. When that is, there's too many factors to predict. But it's a dire future for any church to operate under a deficit. Churches operate under deficits. It's who they are. It's what they're supposed to do. They're nonprofit organizations. That doesn't mean you can't have a fund there that helps support your future, but you have to account for it. Well, our fund is getting smaller, increasingly fast. Nothing else?
So, and I'm sorry that I don't know this, I don't know how a giving unit is determined, but I'm looking on page 4 of the financial information, where it lists out, okay, we have 172 giving units, and then it breaks down how much is given by each individual giving unit. With 172 total, and we have 81 considered contributors that give nothing, I don't understand how those 81 people are counted as contributors or active members if you give $0. And the year before it was 80, so it's probably kind of the same group of people. It's very disheartening. I think we could fix our financial problems if those 80 people would give even a little per year. But I'm just curious why we keep those 80 people. I mean, and I know there's probably a few members who cannot afford to give, totally get that, but I don't think there's 81 that can't afford to give $10.
And I will express that the councils in the past have discussed that, and we've never based our membership on giving or membership. However, it's how you feel the need to support your church. And that's a difficult conversation that a lot of churches, the majority of churches, all churches are having this conversation. It's a yearly conversation about where does the money come from? How do we use the money? Do we use it for our future? There are churches that have endowments that have halved over the last couple of years. Suddenly their 175-year-old church needs a new roof, that sort of thing. So to have a newer facility like we do works to our benefit. However, your organ starts to break. Those are the considerations that councils moving forward have to give. There's nothing that was overlooked or undercited in our considerations of our budget. We took all numbers into effect. Sometimes, though, we have to move money around. And it is a concern, and it's a valid point, and you're absolutely right. Next year, if we're $11,000 in the red, there isn't $15,000 to cover that. That money isn't there in script anymore, or it is. But again, do we want to move it again? Eventually, that's gone, because that's partially their operating budget too. All right.
I just going to change the subject. I would like to thank Jim Lipke for taking over the CARES medical closet, because I think that's.
Yes.
We need to be let know if you need anything. Occasionally we know somebody goes into a nursing home and no longer needs whatever, and so Jim, you need to let us know if there's anything that you need, okay?
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, and yes, Jim, thank you. That has always been a large part of who we are.
I was going to say that Denny got a new battery for the scooter, so that was.
Yeah.
Thanks, Denny.
For those that didn't hear that, Denny Richmond did get a new battery for the scooter, which is usable again, because that's been there for a long time, and we went to use it, and it didn't work anymore, so, okay. All right, do we have any other questions in regards to the budget? Do I have a motion to accept the budget? Go ahead and move. Do I have a second? Arlene Winter has seconded. Any further questions, comments, concerns? Well, we all have concerns. All right, hearing none, I ask for a vote. All those in favor of accepting the budget as outlined in the report, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. And we have a 2024 annual budget. Okay, voting results. We will start with the council. In an overwhelmingly number amount, we'd like to congratulate Jean Bach, Jill Traskett, and Lynn Strelo. If you really want to know how we voted, I would be happy to let you see the numbers, but and I'll give them to Eric. But you all received votes, so you win. So. I will remind you as new council members, at the end of the meeting, we will meet in the Coulter's room to elect officers. For Peach Church, For Peace Church Endowment, again, congratulations go to Joellen and Margaret. See what you're volunteering got to, Margaret? Yeah. So thank you again. You have both been voted into endowment committee, so thank you for doing that. Yeah, you most certainly can.
So I just want to publicly state that the council meets on the second Thursday of every month. We start at 6 o'clock. And visitors and guests are welcome. And every month we have 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 people who come. And I think it's a great way for people to hear what goes on during the year. You know, you're here at the annual meeting, but I think, come in and join us. They last maybe an hour or an hour and a half, and it would be a great way to learn more about the inner workings at church. You can ask questions, like you wouldn't be participating in a vote if we do a vote. But, yeah, and then we do occasionally have a closed session. That's not every time, but, and we would have to ask you to leave for the closed session if it involves like personnel or something. But just know that you are welcome to join us.
And sometimes we have cookies. Thank you. So we have the voting results. President's remarks. First of all, let me thank you for the chance to lead your council this year. We had a great council. Truthfully, I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to lead. They're very cooperative. They're very willing to do what needs to be done. We have some great conversations, great arguments, if you want to put it that way. But in the end, we really made some tough decisions and came to an overall consensus at those decisions. And that's really a reflection on what the future of the church really needs to be. It is your church. You get to decide that future. And you now have a great opportunity to participate in that decision. What is the future of your church? As the search committee begins to develop our profile, they're going to use your opinion on that. That's going to really decide your future pastor. The one that really will help you develop who you are as a faithful group, okay? And you're going to have the input for that, but it goes beyond that. It is all the organization, all the groups, all the committees, all the little bits of people that make this church work. The fact of the matter is, there's fewer of them. We've had a couple who have said, I need to take some personal time. I need to do something for me. And that's fine. We can't expect anything more from them because they have given us their all. So when you ask the question, what can I do for my church? You get to answer that. It's not just showing up on Sunday. It's not just watching the services online. It's participating in the everyday activities of what we do, listening to Jesus Christ's teachings and applying that every single moment of every single day. That's who we are asked to be as Christ followers. So folks, as you do that, there is plenty here to do. The committees are getting smaller. Some of the committees have had to fold because they don't have enough people in it. Some of the committees no longer have leadership. Now is your chance to step up and say, I want to participate. If you want to do that monetarily, yes, we will take your money and we will do it happily. But it's about your time, it's about your passion. I've had many people come to me and say, hey, I like or I think. My answer always is, everything needs a champion. Be that champion. You get to make the choice to see that that happens. It's as simple as painting the walls, changing light switches, pushing buttons for technology, using your computer skills to help the office. All of it is important for what you do. So keep that up. Keep it in the back of your head. Encourage other people to do it. And when we do that, all of our work will matter. We will continue to grow. And we won't face a bleak future. We don't now, but I am concerned discern as we move forward what will happen. The choice is yours. Change is scary, but change is good. Chaos is what creates better things. Thank you. I know this is the part everybody hates, but do I have a motion for adjournment? Yeah. Oh, Dave wants to say something.
As a member of the search committee and as a former church pastor, I want to say something. It is this chance, as was just emphasized, this is a chance for us to work on discerning the future of the church. But please, when we call a new pastor, that's not going to settle the issues. That new pastor is not going to take us into the future. We are going to take us into the future, and we have to figure out what that future is going to be. And as we go through this search process, we have a good opportunity to do that. But don't focus too much on that coming person. He or she is not going to be God. And we shouldn't treat them as God, okay? So that's just my caution, having been in the seat that Gloria is in 2 different churches in the past, and being on the search committee now. It is not just what we want in a new pastor. It's what we want this church to be in the future that is what needs to be running around in our minds and in our thoughts. We need to think, what if this were a new church start that we were starting? What would we want in that new church? And what would the people who aren't here want in that new church?
Well said. Yes, Jill. Do you want to come up to the microphone so people can hear you? Okay.
But and I know what you mean by you don't have to go to church, but I'm sorry, if you want to be involved in this church, you need to show up on Sunday. You need to greet people, you need to get to know them. Otherwise, we're not a community. If you're staying home, it doesn't matter how much work you do. You're not part of the community. You need to go to church on Sunday.
Not everyone, Michael, you'll say something about that. Jill, you're correct, but not everyone, right? There's people online right now that are immunocompromised
I am
or
not talking
shut-ins,
about
but,
health issues.
right. But everyone else, I just want to be clear.
Yes, yes.
All right. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Nobody wants to go home. Barb is motioning, and you've done too many seconds. We're going to let Dan do the second, so you got to stand up first. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Nobody ever says no, unless you want to. Thank you. Again, just a reminder, council members will meet in the Coulter room. Thank you, everyone. Oh, we got to do a benediction. I forget, we're a religious organization. We got to do this sort of thing.
We are people of faith. So hear the promise of God. Do not fear, for I am with you. And may the love of God, the peace of Christ, and the compassion and comfort of the Holy Spirit be with you. Amen.
And all the people said.
That is my last praise God.
So what'd she do with her horn?